Dr. Indra. We are going to discuss about some topics in protection and switch gear in the first unit. I'm going to cover today in this class. I'm going to cover causes, nature, and effects of faults in power system, and also we are going to discuss about the fault current calculation. So I'm working in Sri Venkateshwara Padmavati Engineering College. So in power system, we need to we can expect some types of fault. So due to that fault, the power system equipments are getting damaged. So in order to avoid that, we are implementing some protective arrangement. So we are going to discuss about initially what are the reasons for fault, and what are the types of fault, and how to reduce the fault. Okay. So first, we are going to study about the fault in power system. So fault is nothing but the defect in electrical circuit of the power system, which deviates the current path from its intended path. Actually, we are having one current flow path. So if there is any deviation from the current flow path, that is considered as the defect in electric circuit, which is called as the fault. So actually, in normal condition, we can have the in all the three phases we are going to achieve the balanced operation, and during the abnormal condition, that is if in case of any fault, the voltage of all the three phases may get unbalanced. Okay, so unbalanced in the sense there may be changes in voltage and also magnitude of voltage and also the phase angle of the voltage. So the fault currents are larger in magnitude if there is any fault, and which is going to damage the various apparatus or equipments in the power system. Various equipments in the power system are first generator, then transmission line, transformer, distribution center, and then load. Okay, so if there is any fault in any one of the stages, it is going to damage or collapse the entire system. So we have to prevent it. So we have to study about the fault in power system. So next, the fault cannot be eliminated, but the occurrence of fault can be minimized by improving the system design, and also the quality of equipment used, and also the maintenance. So the occurrence of fault, we cannot minimize it, we cannot eliminate it, but we can minimize it by proper designing of the system, and the quality of equipment used in power system, and also we have to maintain it properly. Then only we can minimize the fault. So we should know what are the causes of fault. So the causes of fault are, that is internal and external stresses which are acting on the conductors. So if there is excessive stress on the conductor, then the insulation may get damaged, and it is going to cause the fault in the power system. Then over voltage due to switching. So switching at the time of switching, so on and off condition. So in that case also we can expect the over voltage due to overcurrent. Then severe lightning strokes. So in case of lightning, we can expect the over voltage in the system that may affect the apparatus in the power system. The lightning may strike on either generator, feeder, or transmission line or transformer. So on which element it is striking, it can initially it is going to cause the damage of that. Then it is introducing subsequent fault, and the entire system may get collapsed. Then heavy winds during the rainy condition or storm windy condition and snowfall condition also we can expect the fault, and falling of trees on the transmission line. So due to heavy wind, the trees may fall on the transmission line, that leads to cutting off the transmission line, that may touch the ground. So it also leads to fault. Then aging, we are using the same conductor for long time, so the insulation or due to the aging of the conductor, the breakdown may occur in the insulation of the conductor, so that we can expect the fault in the system. Then high changes in atmospheric temperature. So if the temperature changes small, means it is not going to affect the system. In case of high changes in atmospheric temperature, it is going to affect the transmission line. That is not only transmission line, the power system equipments may get damaged. Then accidents of vehicles with towers and poles. So unexpectedly some accident may happen, and that vehicle may strike the tower or pole, and it may get damaged. Due to that, the entire system may be collapsed. Right? Chemical pollution. So in the industrial area, if you are having, so there may be a possibility of chemical pollution. Because of that also, we can expect some faults in the system. Right? Perching of birds on the transmission line. At last, the short circuit due to strings and snakes on the transmission line. So we may expect some accidents due to some animals and other things. So that may also lead to fault in the system. So these are the causes of fault. So excessive stress on the insulation, stress on the conductor, it may be due to overload or some other condition. Then due to the switching and lightning, then heavy wind and falling of trees on transmission line, aging of the conductor, atmospheric temperature change, then accidents of vehicles in the poles or towers, and also it is due to some animals or some other thing, then chemical pollution and perching of the conductor. So the causes of fault, the occurrence of fault in the power system components such as, so already I told you, there are various elements in power system. The main elements are generator, switchgear equipments, transformer, transmission line and other things. So in transmission line, the maximum possibility of occurrence of fault occurs only in the transmission line because it is exposed to atmosphere and also it is of greater length. So generator means it is fixed at one place and it is transformer and other things, it will be at one place. But if you are considering the transmission line, so in between the from generating station to the distribution station, the transmission line is there. In between that, we are having some distribution centers and other things. So the maximum length or greater length of transmission line leads to the possibility of occurrence of in the transmission line high. Okay, and also it is due to it is exposed to atmospheric conditions. So because of that also there may be error or fault in the transmission line. So most of the faults are short circuit fault. We are having two types of fault, that is open circuit fault and short circuit fault. Especially in the power system or transmission line, we may expect a short circuit condition. So during the short circuit condition, the impedance value will be very low and the larger current. For example, we can take the transmission line. So the transmission line length, normal condition, we can take it as 5 km. The power is transmitted from one station to other station. In between that, assume the length is 5 km. So for example, if the fault occurs at the middle of the transmission line, what will happen? The length of the transmission line is reduced. So because of that, not the actual length, because at the middle point it is connected to the ground. So the length between the stations is reduced. So because of that, the impedance value is also reduced. So because of that, it leads to high current. So the transmission line and other equipments are designed to carry the current based on the impedance value. So if there is any change in the impedance value, that leads to change in that leads to fault current. Okay, that leads to larger current. So because of short circuit current, we may expect the large value of current because of since we are having low value of impedance. Okay? The evaluation of fault current under short circuit condition is important from the design and selection of protective equipments and their arrangements in the power system. Just now I told. So it depends upon the arrangement. So from where to where the equipment is connected. So depending on that only, we have to design the protective equipment and other things. So the selection and design of protective equipment is very important, and also the arrangement of various equipments in the power system is also very important for the calculation of fault current. So first we have to calculate the fault current, and depending on that we have to operate the relay. So under normal condition means the relay should not operate. So under abnormal condition there will be changes in either voltage or current. So first it has to sense the change in voltage or current, and correspondingly the relay will operate. So the relay operation depends upon the normal condition and abnormal condition voltage and current values. So based on that we have to design the equipment, protective equipment. So the calculation or evaluation of fault current is very important in the protection and switchgear. So in the last slide we discussed in overhead transmission line the occurrence of fault is very high. we can take the 100% of the fault. So now this 50% of the fault occurs due to the overhead in the transmission line, overhead transmission line. As it is exposed to atmosphere, mostly the fault occurs in the overhead transmission line. Switch gear, we are using some protective and switch gear arrangement, protection and switch gear arrangement. So in that, there is a possibility of fault is 15%, and in the transformer it is of 12%, in cables 10%. We can compare the overhead transmission line and the cables. The cables are laid under the ground, so it is not exposed to atmosphere. So the possibility of fault in cables is 10%, but in case of overhead transmission line it is 50%. Right? Miscellaneous, we are using various equipments other than this, that is switch gear, overhead transmission line, then cables, transformer, control equipment. Other than this, we are using some other equipment. For example, we can take the capacitor bank. So the capacitor bank is used for protection, for improving the power factor. So in that equipment also, something like that, auxiliary equipments we are using. So in those equipments, we can expect the fault of 8%. Then control equipment. In anything, suppose if we want to control the power generation, we have to control the input. So for that, we are using some control equipment for adjusting the speed, so that we can adjust the frequency. We have to maintain the synchronism, right? So for controlling of some parameters in the power system, we are using control equipment. So the fault may occur in that also. So the possibility of occurrence of fault in that equipment is 3%. And CTs and PTs, especially in protection and switch gear, we need to monitor the voltage and current under normal condition and abnormal condition. So if there is any abnormal condition, that is going to reactor, that is going to change the voltage or current value. So we have to monitor the voltage and current. For monitoring it, we are using CTs and PTs. Just we can use the ammeter or voltmeter for measuring, but it is high voltage or power rating of the electrical equipment or power system equipments are very high. So that we are using CTs and PTs for reducing the voltage and current level, and then we are using low level meters for measuring the current. So in those equipments also the fault may occur, and that is of only 2%. So various equipments and the total percentage of fault level in those equipments. So next, we studied about the causes of fault. Then we have to know about the nature of the fault. So we can classify the fault into two, that is symmetrical fault and unsymmetrical fault. Symmetrical fault means in all the three lines. We can take the three-phase transmission line. So in all the three lines, there is a possibility of fault. All the three lines can be connected to ground, that is short-circuited to ground. So that fault is the symmetrical fault. So this symmetrical fault occur due to the breakdown of insulation in all the three lines, and it is the possibility of occurrence of this fault is very small, but if it occurs, it is going to cause severe impact in the power system. So the entire system may get collapsed, and there is no continuity of power supply. So in order to maintain the continuity of power supply, we need to have the protective arrangement. Right? Unsymmetrical fault. The unsymmetrical fault means in all the three lines there is no fault. In any one or two of the lines there may be a fault. That is unsymmetrical fault. And there are different types of unsymmetrical fault. Single line to ground fault, then double line to ground fault, line to line fault, and open circuit fault. So breaking of the lines. So single line to ground fault means any one of the line is connected to ground. And double line fault means we are having two lines, in between that we have the short circuit, that is double line fault. Then double line to ground fault means two lines that are shorted to or connected to ground, that is double line to ground fault. Open circuit fault means there is no ground connection, just there is a opening of or the breaking of the lines in one line or any two lines, that is called as open circuit fault. So these are the types of fault. So first we have to know what is fault and when it occurs, and what are the types of fault which can occur in the power system. So the common type of fault is line to ground fault, and LG fault, that is single line to ground fault. The occurrence of this single line to ground fault is 85%, and LL fault, that is line to line fault or double line fault, the occurrence of this type of fault is 8%, and double line to ground fault, its occurrence is of 5%, and symmetrical fault, that is LLL fault, it is 2% or less. So these are the occurrence of fault, percentage of occurrence of various types of fault in power system. So initially we discussed what is fault and what are the causes of fault. Then we discussed about the types of fault, and then what are the effects of fault we can discuss. So if the fault occurs, what will happen? It is going to cause a high current. Already we discussed. So if there is any fault, it leads to low impedance. So if there is a low impedance, then the current may rise. Okay. So heavy fault current is flowing in various parts of the elements of the power system, which is going to damage the power system equipments. Then it is due to it causes overheating and high mechanical stresses on the conductor or various equipments, because very high current, it leads to heating, so overheating, and also mechanical stresses on the conductor will also be very high. Okay? Danger of fire due to arcing. Actually, the protective equipment is there for opening the healthy line from the remaining system. That is, if there is any fault, so we have to isolate the faulty part from the healthy system. So otherwise it leads to severe damage to various equipments of power system. So we have to disconnect the faulty part. For that we are using circuit breaker. So when there is an opening of the circuit breaker, there is a arcing phenomena. So due to that arcing phenomena, there is a continuous flow of current even though the breakers are at open condition. That is, there is a separation between the fixed and moving contact. Even though there is a separation, but there is some continuous flow of current due to the arcing process. So in that condition, that is during the abnormal condition till the opening of the circuit breaker, the current will be flowing. That current causes the fire. So there is a danger of fire due to arcing, which is caused by the heavy currents. So if this fault is existing in the system, if the fault exists in the system for longer duration, then it spread to other parts of the system. So the entire elements or equipments in the power system may get damaged. So these are the effect of fault. Then overheating. So when there is a fault, it leads to overcurrent, and that overcurrent is flowing. When there is a overcurrent, it causes overheating. That is because of losses, I squared R losses. So that losses leads to very high increase in temperature. So overheating, which is going to cause the insulation failure. So the weakening of the insulation of the conductor will occur, which is going to reduce the life of the insulation which is used around the conductors. Then unbalanced current and voltage. So this leads to heating of rotating equipments in the power system. So mostly we are using generator and motors, and there are rotating parts in the generator and motor, and it is going to cause the heating of the rotating machine because of unbalanced voltages and current. And unbalanced voltage and current leads to loss of synchronism. Actually, in power system, various generators are connected in parallel, and they should operate in synchronism. So if there is a unbalanced condition, if due to the fault there may be a possibility of unbalanced voltages and current, and that leads to loss of synchronism. So it is going to cause the shutdown of the system, so which is going to affect the stability of the system. So when the generators are in parallel, we have to maintain the synchronism. So if there is loss of synchronism, the stability of the system will be affected. So this is also the cause of fault and the effect of fault. Then interruption of power supply to the consumers. For example, we can say the three-phase line fault. So if there is a three-phase fault, what will happen? The power supply to the consumer will be interrupted. So the interruption of power supply to the consumer, it is going to reduce the reliability of the system. So these are the effects of fault. First, the heavy current which is flowing in the power system equipment is going to cause the overheating, and we can expect the high mechanical stress and danger of fire due to arcing phenomena and it's spread to the fire means spread to other parts of the equipment, then overheating is going to cause the weakening of the insulation, which is going to reduce the life of the insulation. Then unbalanced current leads to heating of rotating machines in the power system. Then unbalanced current leads to loss of synchronism in the generators, which is going to affect the stability of the system. And then interruption of supply to the consumers, which is going to reduce the reliability of the power system. These are the effects of fault. So, if the fault occurs, these are the effects. So, we need to isolate the faulty part as early as possible from the healthy system for improving the reliability of the system. For that, we can use the protective devices. So, before discussing about the protection and switchgear, we need to know the fault, types of fault, causes of fault, and other things. Right? Fault current limitation. The fault current is limited by the impedance. Mainly, if the impedance is less, the fault current is very high, right? So we have to limit the fault current. We can limit the fault current up to the faulty part, and so we have to know about the impedance which is connected in the power system, and it is very important for the calculation of fault current. So first we have to have some assumptions for the fault current calculation. The EMF of all the generators is 1 at an angle 0. It indicates that we are taking the operation under no load condition. So at the time of fault, assume there is no load in the system. So it indicates the EMF of all the generator is 1 at an angle 0. An exciting branch of transformer equivalent circuit, including magnetizing and core loss component. These are called as the no load components. So we are having the no load components are magnetizing component and core loss component. So we are neglecting that also. That is, the no load components are neglected. Then shunt capacitance of the transmission line. The transmission line can be represented in pi model or T model. So the shunt capacitance of the transmission line is neglected. Then impedance of inductive reactance is neglecting the resistance of the system. So we are assuming the impedances as reactance. Now mostly we are neglecting the resistance because the inductive reactance is 3 times more than the resistance, so that we can neglect the resistance. So these are the steps for the calculation of fault current. So we can these are the steps for calculation of symmetrical fault current. We are having 2 types, that is symmetrical and unsymmetrical. These are the steps for symmetrical fault current. So first we have to draw the single line diagram. For any power system, we have to draw the single line diagram. Even though we are having 3 phases, we have to consider it as a single line connected to ground. So single line diagram is drawn, and with some ratings of each and every equipment. Rating in the sense we have to specify the voltage and reactances of various equipments. Then we have to convert all the percentage reactances to the selected base kVA. We have to choose one base kVA. Using that base kVA, we have to convert all the percentage reactances, and that should be represented in the reactance diagram. So next step is we have to draw the reactance diagram, and the converted reactances to base kVA are indicated in that. Then resistance of generator transformers are neglected as we discussed earlier. Then the total reactance up to the faulty point, the total percentage reactance up to the faulty point is calculated, which is nothing but percentage X. Then the full load current corresponding to the base kVA is obtained up to the faulty point. Then the short circuit current is calculated using this formula, that is ISC is equal to I into 100 divided by percentage reactance. I is nothing but the full load current corresponding to the base kVA, and percentage reactance already we have calculated from the reactance diagram. Then the short circuit kVA is calculated using the base kVA. So short circuit kVA is equal to base kVA into 100 divided by percentage reactance. Percentage reactance is the reactance which is calculated up to the faulty point. And the reactance, if the reactances are given directly, then we can use this formula. ISC is equal to V divided by square root of 3 into reactance. Okay? The short circuit kVA is calculated using this formula. That is voltage into current, that is VA. So under short circuit condition, we are calculating kVA. So short circuit current into voltage, then into root 3, we are getting the phase value. So we know phase VL is equal to V phase by root 3. So V phase is equal to VL into root 3. So V represents the line to line voltage. So ISC into line voltage into square root of 3, and we are converting this one to kVA. That's why we are dividing by 1000. So where V is the line voltage which is given. Okay. So these are the steps for calculation of symmetrical current. So in the next class we will discuss about the protective equipment.